Hey there, welcome to ATL on 29, a podcast that looks at the NBA from the starting point of Atlanta. My name is Kevin Chouinard. I'm here with Glen Willis and Tyler Jones, and we're recording on a Monday night after the Hawks four-game road trip out west. Uh, what are your big takeaways from the trip, Glenn?
Playing well, and of course the fourth quarter last night was, just kind of ridiculous. They put up 47 in the quarter, I think. Um, yeah, it just seemed like so last night Phoenix was playing really good defense for three quarters, and they got that lead, and it's like they just stopped playing defense, in the fourth quarter. And they had no rim protection. They just kind of became a mess, in the fourth quarter. And the Hawks just put you know the pedal to the floorboard, so to speak. Um, the kill was great, attacking the rim, attacking the paint in that fourth quarter. So it was just wild to see a pretty veteran team in Phoenix relax and really open the door for the Hawks to get back in that game.
What'd you think of the trip, Tyler?
I thought I want to start with the bad a little bit because it bothered me because I feel like something similar happened last year where they knew they were going to designate guys for rest on the second night of back-to-backs early in the season, but they don't bring their entire team with them. They don't bring their two ways. They don't bring their third center, right? And so like you're in a scenario where you knew you were going to sit Porzingis against the Jazz, a bigger basketball team, and you don't bring a backup center, and then Folly Dante, just for emergency purposes. He might not play. He might not have been in the game plan. But, that was a game they could have used him absolutely just to have some size to battle when Okongwu was out the game because Okongwu got in foul trouble. I want to say that game. And you saw like Mo at center isn't ideal because he's just not strong enough to hold guys off on the glass, and it really takes away what he does best defensively. Like he's not able to like be a havoc creator because he's too busy basically boxing out the entire possession, trying to keep the big out of the middle of the floor. So like I just think it wasn't a very good appropriation of the roster assets on the team. Because like they could have used him there and they could have used him against Phoenix. Like Phoenix was kind of a similar scenario where Mo was getting, he was just getting pushed around. And again, like if you just had, you know, the Suns game, there are other issues, but like a lot of it came down to all right, if a Kongu is not in this game, we're not grabbing any defensive rebound. Understanding he only had four defensive rebounds, but like if he's not in the game, there's no chance of us boxing out the center, and so we just got to pray that the ball like falls to us. So I just to me, I feel like Nafali's a good player, and like it would have been a good opportunity to get some burn, especially against a Jazz team that you would have been favored that you had such a margin of error as we saw when they had no interest in playing defense for the majority of the game until the fourth quarter. Like I feel like that's like the exact game where you want to try Dante out for like 5 to 8 minutes, see what you have in him. But you know,
So your
Hawks.
takeaway from the trip was in Folly Dante.
Yeah,
You
I
watch
mean,
those four games and you're thinking, man, if we just had in Folly Dante.
yeah. If we
No,
had Nafali Dante, the games aren't. I'm not sweating this Suns team. That was not that. I don't think they're that talented, but they play hard
yeah.
and they were super physical. And I felt like the Hawks were letting the physicality get to them. It would have been nice if they had a bigger basketball player out there who could throw his weight on. Like full stop. Sometimes you just need that to set the tone. That hey, certain things aren't just gonna, you're just not gonna be able to get away with certain stuff. Like Dylan Brooks, bro, only a Kongu can set the hard screen on him and like he's not going to play the whole game. Like he's harassing Jalen Johnson and not getting called for fouls. I'm like, it would have been nice if we had a bigger center Just come in. I don't care if he commits an offensive foul. Just be like, yo, Dylan, you gonna get off my boy. Something like that. Like that. I mean, maybe I'm too old school. Maybe that's not how the game's played
Yeah,
no
you're
more.
not
But
with our young crew like me and
to me,
Glenn.
I thought a big issue with the Suns was like they were just the more physical basketball team for the majority of the game.
Yeah.
And then when they tried to kill Ricochet for no reason, they were like, all right, enough of this. Uh, we're actually taller than you guys and we're more athletic. How about we just turn it up on them? And that's what happened. Like they were like, wait a minute, we're letting these bums push us around. Like, no, and I mean all due disrespect because like I'm sorry, like I'm bothered. I'm still bothered by what Gillespie did on the fast break with
Yep.
Zachary Reese. Like it's just he got beat twice and he committed a dirty foul that went uncalled. And I'm like, whatever. Uh, Dylan Brooks just allowed to be uber physical against Jalen Johnson, no whistle the entire game. I'm like, all right, this is how it's going to be. Like it would have been again. I just make point. It would have been nice if Dante was out there, throwing his weight around. Because
Yeah,
like
I mean, looking ahead, like this game tomorrow is like the perfect game to have Dante on your roster. You
they're
got a
they're
Kongwu
definitely going
questionable, Porzingis questionable, and you got to play Jalen Duren. Like, but the
and
only problem is he played these games with College Park this weekend, and he took a hard fall and left the game and didn't come back. So we don't have, whether he showed up on the Hawks injury report for this game is kind of irrelevant because he's not on the Hawks roster at the moment. He's still assigned to College Park. So we don't know what his injury is. It seemed like maybe it was like a left wrist kind of thing, but I don't know. I'll try to find out some more tomorrow. But like this is like a really good game to have him for. Like the West Coast stuff, it gets a little bit wonky. Like if you don't send him at the beginning, it gets kind of hard to send him back. And he does need reps, right? Like he's a young guy. He didn't play a ton in college. Um, he looked a little choppy and out of the flow, and he looked great in College Park in terms of being in the flow and protecting the ball and knowing where the ball's supposed to go and how, catching it without fumbling. Like he was crisp on offense. So like I get wanting to get him the reps, but like now it's like pretty dire. Like if you have him, you have to have him on the roster tomorrow night. I
yeah,
don't know
I actually saw. So he got hurt. Was it Will Riley that shoved him in the back?
It was
And
Will Riley that just shoved him in the back. And they spent like 10 minutes reviewing it too. Like
I mean, it was a
what's
clear
taking
play.
so long?
It was a ridiculous. Like I don't know what's going on with some of these young players. Like they need to learn some respect. That's just
There's no code anymore. It's like if
yeah. I don't
you
know
do
what's going
something,
on.
you just get away with it. Like
That was a foul from a first round pick who thought he's better and didn't want to belong there, and like he just committed a absolutely like unsportsmanlike nonsense foul. Like that's just unacceptable. And like I don't know what they're doing over in Washington, but like that doesn't to me that just reflects poorly on what's going on there as an organization because the veterans on your team would be like apoplectic. You doing something like that to like another basketball player just in general, just because you got beat on a play or something. That's just nonsense. But
I mean, he wasn't even really part of the play. Like maybe he was a little bit
yeah,
late, like on a tag or something. He
yeah,
just
it
came in
made
from
no.
the other side. Like
He literally like if you didn't see the play like that Kevin's describing like Nafali who might be hurt because like it was a pretty bad fall. Like he's jumping for a lob and like Will Riley just shoves him as hard as he can in the back and like
somehow, I think it was worse that even saying back doesn't do it justice. It was like
yeah
high up
it
on
was
the
a chuck.
shoulders, so he's
Yes,
really going to mess up his center of balance.
yeah, he really chucked him. Like I don't it was like a truck stick kind of thing. And I'm like, what was that? And they spent 10 minutes. He got a flagrant two. So he's probably that's a hefty fine, like even in the G League. So I don't know. That's hopefully Nafali's okay because they are if Kongu and Porzingis are both out tomorrow, it's gonna be if y'all thought the rebounding was bad on the break over the West Coast trip, it's gonna get a lot worse tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see what Zach's status is too. I don't really know what to expect at this point in time. I guess they said questionable today is what I think.
And I think all that really tells you when they tell you that it's questionable. Like they had no practice today, so you get back from
Yeah.
a West Coast trip, guys don't even come in. So I think they're going off of like, okay, we did X-rays yesterday and saw no broken bones. Put him on the plane. Like I don't think he's gone through like extensive evaluation. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I on these off day kind of injury reports, I think it's kind of a shot in the dark, and they just kind of go middle of the road question. But he's
Yeah.
probably closer to doubtful. But just the fact that
Yeah.
they even put him as questionable seems like a small miracle because it seems like it's
Yeah.
ruling out some real dire stuff, which you might have thought you watch that fall and it's like, oh my God, like this might be a while. But kudos to him for turning in midair a little bit so he didn't come straight down on his back.
Or on his neck. I thought he was gonna
Yeah.
fall. I thought he was gonna fall on his neck at a certain point. That's as scary as to get. So
Yep.
yeah, glad he's okay though. It sounds like, based on what he said on Instagram and this report, like he should be fine. So I don't expect him to play tomorrow, but I thought he was gonna be out for like 2 weeks or so. So maybe a couple of games at most, or maybe three or so. So that's not bad. Uh, that's the bright spot. But yeah, I mean, like Glenn said, overall the Hawks playing some great ball. I feel like they're figuring out some stuff. And also you can, like, all jokes aside, you can clearly see where Trae Young has been missed. And you could see where if they have somebody like Trae Young, this team might be able to go to another level here. So if they can really, gel and kind of
Yeah,
figure out
it's
some,
not instantaneous, but like he's taking minutes from the bottom feeders, so to speak, right?
yeah,
It, and that's really what it's not like the Hawks have this. I mean, it is sort of an egalitarian thing among the starters, but if you look at their performance over the last week, it's like when did it get dicey? And when it got dicey was when they were into their ninth, eighth, ninth, 10th man. When they get into this Veet, Kennard, uh, Keaton
Mhm.
Wallace three-guard lineup, like that's where it gets choppy. And it's like, well, if you have Trey in your rotation, I mean, I guess I gotta be there. I don't
We'll
think
see.
that's gonna happen
we'll
when
see.
Trey comes
We'll
back, but you
see.
never know.
Yeah. 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 I love Keaton, but man, someone needs to hold an intervention with Quinn on this because that lineup doesn't work. It doesn't work, you know. And I can love Keaton and hold the other thought at the same time, but like deploy him differently or something. So yeah, yeah. But
I
if
have
it
a
was,
question, and I think
yeah,
it's for Glenn, but it's kind of for both of you. Because I just like for me, I feel like it's out of my area of expertise. But
all right,
my question is like, okay, like I've seen him some over the course of his career, and I'm talking about Nikhil Alexander Walker here.
yep.
And this is like his seventh year in the league, so he comes into the Hawks. Comes into this season, he's averaging like 8 points a game for his career. Maybe his career best is like 10 points a game. Like I know part of it's usage, but like it's taken him a while to get to the level where he is now. What did he add? What's gone right that he's the player that he is, that he appears to be now compared to what he was 4 or 5 years ago or 3 years ago? Like what has been added? What's the polish that maybe wasn't there before?
Yeah, I mean, a little kind of go back to when he came in the league. The big question was, can he shoot the basketball? That was the big question, right? And he's obviously worked his tail off and become a high level shooter. Yeah. So that's good. That's there. The other thing we talked about this before too is that really when the way Minnesota runs when Nas is at the five, they play five out, you know, and they put shooters in each corner, and there's not a lot of motion, not a lot of movement. It's more just kind of setting up and in the corner and staying there. I think what he is getting to do here is it is all the motion, it is all the flow, it is body and players in the ball constantly moving. That offensive system gives him leverage on defenders. Like they could not keep him out of the paint in the fourth quarter last night. They could not keep him out of the paint at all. They couldn't keep him off the rim at all, right? And so he's just really, really good at finding the seam, attacking the seam, setting. He's not at some high level ball handler, but he knows how to set his defender up and get past his defender with the in out dribble or whatever it is you have. And so he's not just stagnating in one place on the floor like he did on a lot of possessions playing with the Timberwolves, right? Because they're playing through Ant, a lot, and things like that. So I think this offensive scheme really suits his skill set. And I think he's a very high level pro. I saw him play, I don't know, 100 games in Minnesota when I still lived there. I went to a bunch of games. And it was always, the defense was always popped at you, but he is a completely different offensive player in this system on this team. And Quinn wants him to be aggressive, and he is aggressive. He's constructively aggressive, and he just knows how to get to where he wants to go, and he is proven to be a three-level scorer. So to have that is, I think he must be really loving it because this is more usage than he's ever had. This is more on ball than he's ever had. This is all that stuff he's ever had. He's doing great.
There was a play in the
Yeah,
second half. I'm going to ask Tyler. I'll give Tyler a chance to answer this in a second, but just like watching that second half, there was one play where he drives, and it seems like so many of his drives are going left. So he's set up Gillespie, and he's kind of going left. Dylan Brooks comes down to dig. Gillespie should have been a foul, like he just kind of shoulder chucked him, and so now he's right there in Dylan Brooks's lap. Dylan Brooks gets a hand on the ball, kind of jumps on his back, forces what the referees call the jump ball, and like
Yes.
was being super physical with Nikhil, and like, okay, the referee gave him a jump ball, but that ball did not flinch from his hands once. He didn't ball, but I'm like, oh, that the fact he had two people trying to like be real physical with him, almost certainly fouled him, and like he did not bobble that ball, and it's like that's like a certain amount of determination and uh, intensity to make sure that you finish that play like that. But do you
well,
have what do you
well,
think is going right for him maybe compared to earlier in his career?
uh, just to add to your point, Kevin, like he's kind of physically, he's very similar to his cousin. Like, this is where he's skinny, but he's very strong, right? And I think that play showcased it, where he's a very strong person.
Yes.
Um, and he has great like flexibility, particularly in his ankles. And so that allows him to get separation in ways that other like basketball players can't, like just physically do what he can do. Some again, similar to his cousin. The thing about Nikhil is you got to remember when he was drafted, he was a scorer. Like this is how he's always played basketball. What's changed is that his scoring wasn't his defense wasn't good enough, and he wasn't a good enough, like he just wasn't a star level player. And like he wasn't featured. And so like I think he's talked about it a couple times where he's like, I've got to learn how to play defense in this league to make it. Like I have to be a good defender or I'm going to be out the league because he got passed around a couple times. He was in some pretty bad spots. But Minnesota finally gave him a chance. But what Minnesota didn't give him is an opportunity with the ball in his hands. Like they never. I feel like they probably regret never actually allowing Nikhil to express himself on the floor in the ways that he could potentially, because they needed a long term option at point guard besides Mike Conley. But the problem was that if we want to talk about weaknesses, Nikhil's biggest weaknesses is passing. And Minnesota is a team that needs elite passers so that you can make Rudy Gobert viable. If Nikhil was coming up and they never make the Gobert trade, I think he gets here sooner. But like on this Hawks team that has a bunch of great passers beyond the point, beyond Trae Young, they don't need his passing in particular. They need his shot creation, which is what he does best offensively, combined with his spot up shooting. So to me, I'm like, it's a great like context and fit. Like the Hawks need more usage out of their guards, not named Trae Young. He's able and willing, and he has the talent to do it. So like to me, it's like he's always had the talent to do so, but he never had the true opportunity in the way that the Hawks clearly were like, hey, we need this type of player. We've needed this type of player for years now. Even this is what we thought we were going wanted. This is what we thought we were getting with DeJounte Murray. To me, is how Nikhil's kind of playing, where it's like shot creation and good defense. Like that's just he's been, incredible. To me, I'm just thinking it's more like he's able to play the style of basketball that he wants to play and is allowed to play for the Hawks.
Yeah, that's a good point about the passing because you look at like the starting five that they've used over the course of this trip here with Nikhil and Dyson and Zachary and Jalen and Onyeka, and it's like, okay, Zachary, like you kind of have to be the floor spacer just because you're the shooter in this group, and so that kind of limits the ways a little bit in which they use him. But like other than that, it's like Onyeka's working out of the high post, working out of the elbow, setting people up with bounce passes and screenings, and you basically it's just this all out, you're just really trying to set up Jalen, Dyson, and Nikhil to get these long drives towards the rim with as much space as possible because you're getting the bodies, you basically want them to be 5 out and like Dyson and Jalen have a pretty good feel for when to shoot, when to kick out. And Nikhil, I think, is getting better at that compared to where he was game 1, 2, 3, 4 of the season, where he is now, but it's still choppy at times, I think, making that read, knowing when to commit to the shot and when it should be a kick out.
Yeah, it's just, it's just, I don't think it's ever been a natural part of his game. Maybe he gets there eventually, but I I'm fine with it just because like
He also
you
has a
know,
mentality that they need though, because like there are too many players that like get an open three and they're just like, oh, maybe like you need a couple people who are willing to get that shot volume, and he is. So
Nikhil
it's a
will take a
mentality
bad
that they kind of need.
absolutely. Like Nikhil will take a contested 3-pointer, like, and that makes the life a lot easier. Like that just makes life easier for everybody. He's willing to take those under 5 second shots, those grenades, because he again he's a very good ISO player. Like that's probably something people didn't know, but like you saw some of it on the international scene when he played for Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting enough, like he did a lot more offensively that uh, I don't think people realize there, and is again I think the Hawks are just loving everything he's providing for them on really on both ends of the floor, combined with like clear leadership, like just and a great locker room guy to have on your team. So like he's been one of the best pickups, and like I want to compare him honestly to like what Bogey initially brought to the Hawks when they signed him way back when, kind of similar, where expanded role as the sixth starter more or less, and like I really think he's kind of he's in a situation where he's able to elevate his play because the fit is just so seamless with what his strengths and weaknesses kind of mirror what the Hawks need, and they can live with the passing being just just not, it's not that it's bad, but it's
Yeah,
just
it's
not
not.
it's not like good for a guard, if that makes sense. Like it's like average for a guard, maybe slightly below average, but on a Hawks team with Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Onyeka Conway, even Porzingis, honestly, uh, the way he's been passing this year, like it's not really a needed skill. And when you have Trey Young as well, like Trey provides as much passing for anybody in the association.
Yeah. What is it fair to say that Dyson Daniels is turning down more shots than he was maybe earlier this season?
He's turning down more shots than what he did last year. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
It's very. I feel like part of it is that the Hawks have a 5-out scheme, and so he fundamentally knows that he can always drive, get 2 feet in the paint, and then kick
Yeah.
out to a better shooter than what he is. I think that's what's going on more than anything else. Is that he knows on a fundamental level, if I drive, I will eventually cause somebody to collapse and I can make a pass, and that will lead to a better shooter taking the shot. Now, he needs to be more aggressive overall. Like it was great to see him in the fourth quarter just kind of just take Gillespie all the way to the rim because he's not big enough to guard him, and he needs to do that more often against weaker defenders, just more consistently, like we've seen him do it before. I still want him to up the scoring aggression, but again, on this Hawks team, with all these very good play finishers, but not good dribblers. Like I think there's like a nice little synergy going on right now where he's providing positive value, even though again I would like to see him trust his shot more. Like he is turning down way too many, uh, you know, drive and kick 3 pointers where he's wide open, and it's like, buddy, you just have to take the shot here. Uh, Maybe it has something to do with no Trey, and he has more on his plate offensively, and combined with his defensive workload, like there might be something going on there as well. But like when Trey was when Trey and Dyson were playing together, like Dyson, he didn't exist on offense. So there's got to be he's got to find a balance, and it's a tough spot to be in where just on a fundamental level, you are by far the worst shooter in the rotation, like you just are, and
Yeah.
so he's trying to navigate that with my greatest skill on offense is my driving and passing. So like but to me, I think he needs to have more confidence in his game because he's a better shooter than like he's a way better shooter than what he's like. He's turning out shots he's made before in his career. Like
Yeah.
it's just very bizarre to see him not take the shots that he's typically take throughout his career, even before his most improved season last year.
Yeah. And sorry, my random laugh in the middle of your reply was you were talking about his defensive workload, and it just made me think of like how good he was on offense this week. Like he was on it. Glenn, I feel like I ask this question every week because I like, but kind of in a related way, like how is this going to look with Dyson when Trey comes back? Like what's the synergy going to be there? Like is he still going to be turning down shots? Is he going to have to be taking these shots but not comfortable with them? Like when Trey and Dyson are on offense together, like I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm repeating myself from last week, but I just feel like when Trey comes back, it's going to be a little bit clunky on offense because of Dyson and because they've played a different way and it's going to take some time and it's all going to fall on Trey's shoulders, but like it it's what are the offensive pieces around him when he comes back? Like how is it going to work with Trey and Dyson on offense when Dyson gets back?
Yeah, so I mean, this the silver lining here is that the group that's playing right now, they're learning to do it without Trey, right? They're learning to do it without Trey, and I think that's helpful. When it comes back, it's going to be interesting if they continue running all of this 5-out motion that they run when Trey's not on the floor, or if they swing back to some more traditional pick and roll, whatever that distribution needs to be. Trey's one of the best pick and roll guards in the league, but the system they're running now suits the 9 rotation players that are playing right now perfectly, right? They're not pick and roll dependent. They have all the motion. They have all the split cuts. They have all that sort of stuff. But I mean, Dyson had 12 assists last night. I didn't notice that until after the game. I mean, his passing has been great, and he's great at getting in the middle of the paint. And if there's a shot there, he takes the shot. I think he only took like what 6 or 7 shots last night, maybe or something around that. Um, but the assists are and he's under control. He's patient. He waits to read the defense, then he makes the right pass. So he's doing exceptionally well in that area. But you also can't just go like take the ball out of Trey's hands like half the time either. So I think this is going to build up some muscle memory with this group until Trey gets back, and some habits and some confidence. And I think that's a really, really helpful thing. And then Quinn's got to figure out, okay, when Trey's back, how much do I swing the offense back to pick and roll or not? Or do we keep doing the things that we're doing?
Yeah, okay. What what looking ahead to this Detroit team that they're going to play tomorrow, and Cade Cunningham didn't play tonight, but was listed as questionable, so maybe he plays tomorrow. But like, if you don't have Onyeka and you don't have Chris Stapps and you don't have N'Faly Dante, what the heck do you do then against Jalen Duren?
Um, I mean, so the key will be the defense, right? The key will be the defense. They're gonna have to wall off the paint, which is really hard. Cade is so strong. He is so strong with the basketball. Really, I mean, Dyson, that one game last year, Dyson couldn't do anything with him. That was an outlier game across Dyson's brilliant defensive season he had last year, but he could literally do nothing with Cade in that game. And what I love is that after the game, Dyson said, I couldn't do anything with him. Like, I got to be better. I got to figure this out. And the accountability that he verbalizes to me is just a very impressive quality that he has. But it's going to take like walling off, like really trying to wall off the paint. And if they're missing all three of their centers, then it's going to be Asa and Mo and who is Jacob Top. If Zach doesn't play, does Toppin play? Toppin's got some size
He's
for
got to be he's got
as
to
a
be on the active roster at least if you're missing
right,
some of these
right.
guys.
So I mean, so it's going to be really, really tough, but they're going to have to win with pace, and they're going to have to just do their best to rebound. They take all five guys putting effort into rebounding on every single possession, all five every time it has to happen. So I'm more worried about the defense, and it'd be interesting to see if Dyson takes a different approach with Cade this time if Cade plays than he did last year. Because like I said, last year that one game he put up 50 something points on him, I think if I recall correctly. So it's gonna be tough. I hope Benyaka can play because he's been playing awesome. He's been playing really great basketball. They need him. That would help a ton. And at least Dante's got some size to deal with Duran, if he's available too. So, but if they have to swing small, it's going to have to be pace, pace, pace. That's the only way they're going to win is just create as many possessions as possible across the game and try to find ways to. And I don't know, maybe Nikhil and Dyson workload share. I don't know if you want Dyson every possession on Kate because that's just exhausting. So I mean, we'll see what the injury report looks like tomorrow. But they don't have any starting centers. It looks pretty rough.
Tyler, what did you think about Dyson guarding Lauri Markkanen in Utah? Because it seemed like that kind of, I think that was the game where Jalen ended up with like 7 steals. He kind of got to free safety a little bit in that game. But what did it look like with Dyson on a bigger player, one who has the ball a lot?
Well, the thing is, I didn't like it just because Markkinen doesn't dribble, and so there's no real opportunity for Dyson to do what he does best. It's just like before the shot action. Uh, I didn't care for it, but like I feel like part of the issue with Markkinen wasn't even Dyson Daniels; it was the team just mentally. Like I just thought that was like one of their worst defensive performances on the season. Like I just don't think they were locked in the ways you need to be to guard to take away the Utah Jazz what the Utah Jazz want to do on offense, which is to get Markkinen open behind the 3-point line or to get Markkinen cutting to the rim. Like they want him to be a play finisher. Uh, the best way to counter, would have been to switch everything and just to be, locked in mentally. And I like to me, I thought it was more of a like as a team, they just weren't there. I thought Dyson was fine guarding him overall. Ideally I would have preferred it be Jalen, but Jalen being able to roam off and get 7 steals is probably part of the game plan. And when the game got tight and late, like they kind of turned it up and they
Yeah.
they pretty much the reason why I'm not that high on Maury compared to what others are is that you can't always just take away the pet stuff. Like at a certain point, you run out of ideas, and the team isn't just going to uh, give you these freebies, which is what the Hawks did for like the first 43 minutes of the game. Uh, but yeah, Dyson on bigger players is interesting. Like it kind of depends on how good of their handle is. Like because against LeBron, interestingly enough, like LeBron had a hard time getting to any of his stuff because his handle is not as what it used to be. Meanwhile, Cade Cunningham was getting wherever he wanted because he had the size and strength to kind of bother him. Luka, the difference between Cade and Luka is like Cade's just a little quicker as well. And so like that's where the difference lies, where Luka relies solely on his power, and like Dyson's strong enough to like hang with that, and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
could
Yeah. Cade's a legitimate athlete, right?
yeah.
Right. And Luka's he's big, he's strong, but he doesn't have a quick first step. He doesn't dribble past people. Doesn't have any explosiveness in that sense. That doesn't mean I don't respect all the other stuff he's great at, but Dyson had no problem with him in that Lakers game, right? I have absolutely no problem with Luke in that Lakers game.
Yeah.
I'm eager to see what approach Dyson brings tomorrow that might be different from what we saw last year.
I mean, some of the approach might be just have Nikhil do it first.
Yeah,
You know, um, throw a different option at him. Nikhil, again, like I said, Nikhil is so strong in the hands in particular. Such a good
yeah,
swipe down player, and he's a little bit like he's better at navigating screens than Dyson. They're both great at it, but I think Nikhil
Like Dyson's good at poking away live dribbles, but Nikhil is good at like slapping a ball when you've got two hands on it.
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so I think maybe that's the thing with Nikhil on the team. You have the option of switching it up. So I do think they need to not have so much pride about it, and just switch it up just for variety's sake, just to keep Cade on his toes, so he doesn't he just can't go to the same thing every time. Uh, offensively, if he plays, like I'm not, I don't know if
Yeah,
Cade's
we
gonna
don't.
play.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
a big question mark.
Yeah, a key is when Kennard's on the floor, when Beat's on the floor, etc. They're going to go hunt a switch. They're going to try to get those switched on to Cade. And as a defense, one thing you can do is try to make that take forever. Bleed the shot clock, make him have to try two times to get that switch done. And then you give yourself a shorter shot clock to have to defend if you do get the bad matchup that's there. So earlier in the year they were awful at navigating. I mean, they could not avoid switches. They've been much better at it the last 4 or 5 games or so. But navigating, avoiding switches and the matchups that don't work, that's going to be a big part of whether or not they're successful on defense tomorrow night.
All right. Well, after that, it'll be the Spurs without Wemby and the Pelicans, and then the Hornets back at home. So interesting week. But yeah, big one tomorrow against the top seed in the East, and I appreciate you joining me and speculating wildly about what Cade will do, and we don't even know if he's going to play. But
Yep.
it's interesting nonetheless. And I guess we say goodnight, Bob.
Well,
good night, Bob.